It's the fourth highest gate in MSG history. We're number 1 and number 4 all time here. Fight of the night, no brainer. Gaethje Chandler. Performance of the night, Chito Vera, Barnett, Pereira, and Bobby Green. They all won $50,000. Congratulations.
Yeah. Dana, obviously just a crazy show from start to finish. I mean, what were your thoughts on the event and obviously being back in a sold-out Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, you guys know, you felt it tonight. The energy in here was insane. The energy at the weigh-ins yesterday was insane. It's good to be back in New York.
Yeah. Fight of the night, as you said, you probably could have written the check beforehand. Both those guys went to the hospital. So do you happen to have an update on medically how they are?
We sent them to the hospital because that's what we do. I mean, as soon as it was over, I didn't want Chandler to do any media, talk to anybody. I just wanted him to get straight in an ambulance and go to the hospital. So, it's not like there was anything wrong with either one of them other than that was a war. We just want to make sure. We love fights like that, but I don't love seeing, guys get hit like that. So just precautionary.
Justin Gaethje said, "Hey, listen, I win, I get a title shot. If not, I riot. Can we prevent the riot from happening? Is he in line for the winner next month?"
It makes sense, but we'll see what happens.
Fair enough.
I don't make fights the night of the fight.
Let's get your thoughts on the main event. Obviously, it looked like it was going to be over early, and then Colby Covington battles back and makes it a close fight. I mean, what was your thought on that?
If Usman doesn't exist, Colby Covington is the champion here, Usman is just, this guy's the best ever. He's the best welterweight of all time. He is on his way to possible GOAT status, and Colby Covington is one tough dude. I mean, he is so tough.
Do you have to start looking for new things for Usman to do at this point, like you said, with his domination? Man, I imagine if Leon Edwards wins, he'd finally get a title shot. But, I mean, it's like rematches moving forward, right? I mean, you start looking at
there's
things.
Still guys here. I mean, you got some guys out there talking about Khamzat Chimaev, that he's ready for it. He's had 4 fights in the UFC. I get it. Listen, the dude's one of the coolest, baddest things we've ever seen, the way he rips through people. But once you break into that top 10, top 5, and let's not even talk about Usman. I mean, it's a whole nother game. He's a couple fights away. If he can beat a couple of guys, in the top 10, top 5, then we'll see. And yes,
Leon.
Yeah, has been waiting for a title shot for a long time too. He's been in there, fought the fights we told him to do. He's had a lot of bad luck. Things happen, but there's always somebody.
Yeah. I did want to ask you, Kamaru's been talking about a possible boxing match with Canelo, which seemed surprising. I mean, is there something that you would even discuss?
Is that what he said tonight?
Yeah, well, he said it this week. He's just like the greatest pound-for-pound MMA fighter, the greatest pound-for-pound boxer.
I watched the Canelo fight tonight. He don't want to fight Canelo. You don't want to fight Canelo. Come on, man. Let's stop this shit. If Canelo wants to come over here, let's do it. He don't want to box Canelo.
I don't think Canelo wants to fight MMA either. So,
yeah.
Last thing I did want to ask you about the co-main event as well. Obviously, a great fight there as well. What did you think about the co-main event?
Yeah, an awesome fight. Those two put on an incredible performance. I mean, I don't know what was a bad fight tonight. I mean, tonight was a great card. So many people look good. Burgos and Billy had to come in after Gaethje and whatever. But other than that, that would have been the fight of the night. I mean, that fight was incredible. And that's, I should have mentioned that too. I'm going to take care of those two guys too. They're not getting 50, but they'll get something that they won't be bummed out about.
Nice. The last thing I'll ask is, like I said, I know we don't make fights, but a couple of weeks ago we asked you about Carla Esparza, saying that she was going to wait around for the title shot. And you said, hey, I'd stay busy. But what do you think? I mean, does she make sense as the next fight, or do you think there's options out there for Rose moving forward?
Yeah, we have an option. Yeah. You don't sit around and wait for fights. It's a really bad idea.
Dana, to your right over here. To your right, Dana.
Yeah.
Weili obviously kind of in a weird position now, having lost twice in a row to Rose. Is it kind of regrettable when this kind of thing happens, or how far away is she from a title fight now? Because obviously it was very close and competitive, but it's a weird spot to be in for her.
How far is Weili away?
Not to make the trilogy right away or anything. But,
She just lost the fight.
Fair
Dana,
enough.
right here.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Chris Barnett, though.
She's pretty far.
Yes. Chris Barnett, great performance. Obviously, spinning wheel kick for a heavyweight. Crazy to see that. Big personality. What do you make of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's impressive. Don't judge a book by its cover. Spinning wheel kick, flips, not a bad dancer either.
Not at all. Not at all. And Kayla Harrison said she was here in New York today. Do you know if she was in attendance at all?
If she was what?
If she was here at the fights?
No. Not that I know of.
He was.
Oh, she was? Oh, there you go.
All right.
Show you what I know.
Right here. The backup, Vicente Luque, obviously he wasn't needed, but a lot of fans are wondering when we might see him back. He's obviously another guy at welterweight who's on a great run right now.
Yeah, I don't know. The last thing on earth I'm thinking about right now.
Some of the guys on the prelims, the debut of Alex Pereira, obviously a lot of people saying he might have the path to Adesanya after their kickboxing background. What were just your general thoughts?
He looked damn good tonight, He did a great job defending the takedown and then, got the guy where he needed him and incredible flying knee.
And then Ian Gary, I mean, obviously it's very lofty to say anyone could be the next Conor McGregor, but certainly he has a couple of those ingredients. Just what were your thoughts on his debut for being such a young guy?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be another Conor McGregor, but he'll be whoever he is. And you know how the Irish support their own. So if this kid stays on a run and starts to do great things, I'm sure we're going to see big things from him.
How does Dana White celebrate in New York?
Start the what?
How do you celebrate in New York City? A big event like this.
How do I settle what?
Celebrate.
Celebrate? Yeah. I'm going to fucking sleep, man. I'm old. I can't do it like I used to. I'm very happy. We've had an incredible 2 weeks, back-to-back incredible fights, and I'm tired.
Dana, over here.
Yeah.
Have you spoken with Frankie Edgar? He was a little upset over that stoppage against Marlon Vera.
I love Frankie Edgar. He's wrong. It was a great stoppage. Even when Frankie, was on his knees and arguing with the ref and everything else, when he still stood up, he wasn't right after. So it was a good stoppage.
Chris Curtis, too, I think was one of the bigger underdogs on the entire night, moving up a weight class to fight Phil Hawes. What did you make of his performance in there after? I think he had like 30-something fights before getting into the UFC.
Yeah, no, he looked strong. He looked good, man. And, yeah, his performance was great, too. I got to give him something, too.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Yeah.
He was back here pleading for bonus.
Yeah,
I think he's ridiculously broke.
It's coming. It's coming.
Finally, what did you make of Bobby Green's performance, too?
He looked awesome. What was crazy is when he threw those two punches, he was squared up. And, yeah, it was very impressive.
And finally, what did you do with Edmund Shabazian now? He had such a bright future for so long. He had that countdown for he wanted to be the youngest champion. Now he's 3 losses in a row. Where does he go from here?
I don't know. You give him another fight and see what happens. And I don't know. It's crazy how fast things can turn in this sport. 1 minute you're on the rise, next minute you're on a skid. It's a rough sport.
Hey, Dana.
Yeah.
You've now had The Rock and Halle Berry presenting belts here at the Mecca, New York. Which one did you have more fun as a sidekick with inside the octagon?
They're both fun. Halle is incredibly passionate about the sport. She loves the sport. That she just did a movie about the sport that's coming out soon. So, I'm going to support her however I can in promoting her movie.
And because this is the Mecca, this is New York, do you think there'll be a trend to have a figure like that presenting belts every time we're here in New York moving forward?
No, it just sort of worked out this way. Her and I had during the pandemic, we were part of a charity that Ruben put on for Fanatics. And people bid to go to dinner with us. So we had the dinner last night. And, she flew in for the fights and the dinner.
And last question, I know we're not thinking too far ahead here, but now that this is all said and done, this fight between Gaethje and Chandler, any idea what you're going to do with Beneil Dariush, who's on such a winning streak, the number 3 guy in the division?
What did you ask me? What am I going to do with who?
Beneil Dariush.
Yeah. Yes, we do. I'm not going to tell you, but yes.
We'll try in a few days.
Yeah, all right.
Dana, right here in front of you. Kamaru is now 15-0 in the UFC. The only one with a longer winning streak is Anderson Silva, who started 16-0. Is this run something? How special is this from what you're seeing here?
telling you, this guy is very special, man. He's damn good, and I think he's the greatest welterweight ever. He's obviously the pound for pound best fighter in the world right now, and you know, he's one of the guys that we could all start arguing with about soon about, you know, GOAT status. This guy, and he's fighting everybody. It's not like, you know, he's only fought this guy, didn't fight. He's fought everybody. He's starting to come back the second time around now and beat guys. You know, the only guy I think he has to fight is Leon. Or he did fight Leon. Yeah, he did. He beat him too. Yeah. So he's starting to.
Did you ever think that run by Silva would be broken? I mean, he's one fight away from tying it. Like
Well,
at the time.
and look at the competition he's facing. I mean, these are all really bad dudes. It's very impressive.
Would you like to see him, you know, stay at welterweight, obviously for the foreseeable future, or is he a guy you think could maybe go for a second belt at 185? I know him and Izzy are close,
Yeah.
but is that something that if we just keep going through these contenders that you would maybe consider?
Yeah, I think you just keep winning. I mean, you just keep winning, and you get the record so far apart that nobody's ever going to break it. You know, Anderson Silva, if you look at the 20 years, he did 16, you know, and now this kid could do what? I don't know, 18, 20? How much longer does he want to fight? We'll see.
And last thing, a lot of people were pointing out on Twitter and just seeing the action in the cage, a lot of fighters were slipping tonight on the
I noticed
decals
that
on
too.
the mat. Yeah.
I don't know what the hell why that was happening. The canvas that we use is nasty. I mean, that stuff will take your skin right off. It's such a it's got such a high grade of you know, I don't know what the fucking word is, but you know what I'm saying. What is it?
Tack.
Okay. I'll take it. And guys were slipping. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Yeah, but I did notice that too.
Yeah, it was just a random thing. It's
And
not,
you saw
guys
like
didn't use
right
it
before, after the eye poke with Colby, Usman was in the corner just rubbing his feet on the mat like a million times, like he felt like it was sticky or wet or something. I don't know. You got to ask him when he comes in here what he felt.
Yeah. Did you guys use a different surface than usual, or is it the same thing?
I
as
doubt
always?
it. I highly doubt it. We use the same canvas. Do we have to spray some crazy fucking COVID shit on there tonight, or who knows? I don't know. We'll find out though and see what went wrong tonight.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah.
Dana, Colby's had 2 close losses in his last 3 fights. But where does he go from here?
Yeah, I know. Listen, he's the second best guy in the division. You know, he's the second best guy in the world. He's the second best guy in the world, no doubt about it. The guy is so durable and tough. His fighting style is tough to beat, and his cardio is insane. So I don't think anybody else beats that guy but Usman. So I don't know. If Usman doesn't exist, he's the world champion. But unfortunately for him, Usman does.
And obviously, you've had a lot of personal rivalries in the UFC in your time. Where does Usman Colby rank?
It's up there. You know, I would say the number one of all time was John and Daniel Cormier. And I put him those two right up there with him, you know.
Dana, you just mentioned John Jones right in the middle. Any idea on what's happening with his legal matters or when there's a chance we might be seeing him in the cage again?
I don't know anything, but he's not fighting until next year, so I'm not even thinking about that yet. He said next year, so we'll see.
Dana, over here. Just curious, and obviously we know why you moved Gagey Chandler to the first fight of the night in the pay-per-view, but is there any metric that you'll be able to look at that says, you know, maybe that's not such a bad idea to kick off a pay-per-view with a fight like that when you have such a stacked card at the top?
To put it where?
To put it as the first fight on the pay-per-view. Any kind of metric you can look at that says, you know, we have a big fight, maybe there's something, you know, instead of building it up like that, we usually do.
No, I mean, we crushed the budget tonight on pay-per-view. This thing killed it tonight. It was a very successful night. You know, the gate was 9.9, and the pay-per-view was really good. So I don't know if it's, you know, listen, the buzz and the energy behind this card for a long time now, and I was telling people, my social media this week was off the charts. And So was UFC's. Every one of the embedded series did over 1 million. This thing was trending really, really big.
And, one more. 5 years now, MMA is legal in New York. Can you sort of gauge the impact that it's had now for you guys?
Yeah, think about how long it took us to get here, right? And we're number 1 all-time gate here at MSG, and now number 4. Think of all the massive events that have been here, right? And we're number 1. And Sheldon Silver's in jail, and we're number 1. Karma's a motherfucker.
Dana, right over here on your left. So you just mentioned it was obviously a very successful pay-per-view event. Do you have any early estimations on any of these numbers?
Do I have a guess on what we did
Yeah.
in pay-per-view?
Mm-hmm.
No? No? Looking at my crew there. Should I
All right, I
say
guess
it?
not.
Should Listen, that's ESPN. If ESPN wants to put the number out, we'll let them put it out. But we buried the projections. We got these bean counters who come out and tell us what we're going to do, and they project what the number's going to be. We destroyed that number, so I'm happy. Jimmy Pitaro, the president of ESPN, was here tonight. He kept running over and showing me his phone as it would go up, and we're all pretty excited. We're gonna break the all-time pay-per-view record this year. Our record.
In terms of total pay-per-view buys?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, Bobby Green came in earlier and he told us that he believes that the bonus should be increased from $50,000 because, in his opinion, over the years, inflation would cause that number to not be as valuable anymore.
Well,
What do you think about that?
I gave out 6 of them tonight.
All right, we'll let him know.
Yeah, I gave out 6 of them. He got one, so he should be happy.
And last one from me. Do you plan on having a backup fighter for the lightweight title fight next month?
Yes.
Is it Beneil Dariush?
We'll see.
All right, thanks, Dana.
Dana, just speaking of backup fighters, here to your right again. We had Luque, who missed weight as the backup this week. What kind of happens in that case, like in terms of a guy getting fined who's not fighting? Like, how does that whole thing work?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate when your backup doesn't make weight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is, sir, but it's not good. It's bad.
And one more for me. This was a great card, right? Top to bottom, fantastic fights. When you look at the best UFC event of all time, how do you kind of assess which one? Like, does this feel like an all-timer to you? And personally, what would you say is the best UFC event we've ever had?
Yeah, this was This was the 8th highest gate in UFC history. So it's definitely one of the best fights that we've ever put on. And there's nothing I love more than when there's so much hype around a card and the card actually delivers. And that's what means everything. So yes, the answer is yes. I would call this one of the best ever.
Dana, how many more pay-per-views do you guess this sold than Canelo's fight?
What's the question?
How many more pay-per-views did you sell than Canelo did tonight?
Well, I don't know. I hope they did well. I think they're insane to go the same night as us. It literally doesn't make sense.
Did you notice they were?
I watched it ringside.
Did you pay for it?
Yes.
Did you notice they were kind of defiant about going the same time as you? Remember last time Canelo fought, they held him for Nate Diaz and Hoy, and then Espinosa was out here being like, "Oh hell no, we're not doing that again." Did you notice that, and what did you make of that?
Yeah, I don't know. He's an asshole, so that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, it was a bad idea. I think it was a bad idea, and they charged like $80 for it. The thing was $80. But I like Canelo. I watched the fight. I bet on Canelo.
How much?
That's why I watched the fight.
How much did you bet?
I bet $100,000 on him to win by knockout.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Dana, up here over in the middle. Hey, we obviously see you guys come back to New York City for this, this Madison Square Garden card in November. I know you guys are starting to look into, expanding where you're traveling to more. Do you think you'd be back in Brooklyn anytime before next November, maybe?
I don't know. We'll probably be back in MSG.
The issue with Luque earlier, there was a lot of talk online that once they saw that Usman and Covington both weighed in fair, he just said to hell with it and stopped cutting or whatever. Or maybe there was even that you had told him, listen, don't worry about it because these guys weighed in, they're good. That wasn't the case. You seemed to, when you earlier.
I like
you're
that story. That's a good story.
But doesn't seem to be
I
accurate.
don't think he made weight. I wasn't there. Did he make weight? No, he did not make weight. Did you hear that? So what happened was he didn't make weight. We did not tell him to quit and stop. But if he really was going to be the backup, they would have gave him 2 hours to cut the weight. So he didn't take the 2 hours to go back in and try. I like that story too.
Does he get paid still, like even though he missed, or like does he get paid as an alternate? How does that work?
Yeah, we paid him.
Dana, with Justin's performance tonight, how do you feel that narrows the gap between him and Islam as who gets next shot at Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier winner?
What's the question? Sorry.
With Gaethje's performance tonight, do you think he closed the gap in possibly getting the next title shot at the Oliveira?
Yeah, he put on a
Poirier
hell
winner?
of a performance tonight, and he's the number 2 guy in the world. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What do you think's next for Frankie Edgar after tonight?
I don't know. Frankie was fighting a good fight till he got clipped. I don't know. Frankie's got to go home, spend some time with his family, think about what he wants to do, and we'll talk about it. He's such a competitor. I mean, the fact that he was in here telling you guys that was a bad stoppage. That was the fucking Anderson Silva kick to the face, a good one, and that fight was absolutely positively stopped when it should have been. Cool? Have a great night, you guys. Thanks.